Okay, so we've got Bhante Tejadhammo speaking tonight, who is the spiritual director of the Association of Engaged Buddhists. And I think most people here do know him. I haven't got an introduction about you, Bhante.
No, you don't need one.
Oh, well, yes.
You don't need one.
Except that he's an amazing teacher and has taught me many things.
About what the Buddha said, not me.
So thank you so much, Bhante, and I will pass to you.
Thank you, Sarah. You might finish up with your own Tonight Show after this. So shall we get started?
Yes. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. And we might take refuge together as well. Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi, Dhammam saranam gacchāmi, Sangham saranam gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Sangham saranam gacchāmi. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming along. It's so nice to see so many of the old faces back on the screen. You all know how I hate Zoom teaching, but anyway, it's better than nothing from my point of view. To be able to see your faces is really, really very wonderful. As for the teaching, well, I think Zoom teaching is very second rate. But anyway, we just get on with it instead of me getting on the hobby horse again. So today was a special day because today was the first anniversary of the death of Lily Koo. And some of you, most of you will know Lily, but some of you won't. And Lily was one of the founding members. There was a very small group of people who started the association. Lily was one of them. It was Molly and KK, Chuck, Sue Tui, a very small number of people. Richard Phillips was among them. And Lily was also very much involved in the setting up of Vejjasala, of our retreat centre. And she was there from the very beginning. When I came back from Thailand, I was living at the old Buddhist library in Lewisham. And I came back from the hospice one night and to be greeted by, I think, T.C. Lim and Jim Teo. And we had a talk, and then it was decided that we would move somewhere else. And so we found a place in Allens Avenue in Petersham, which was so tiny, it was unbelievable. But we moved in there, and I lived in a little attic room upstairs, and we had meditation and a little bit of teaching. And then we had Dana days established, and they became then, I think, the first Sunday of each month, and people came to the backyard in Petersham. So the association was born. And so we started doing hospital work I'd done that in Thailand for a long time. Jail work, which I'd done in Thailand for a long time, although there's no comparison between a jail in Thailand and the jails here, and hospital work as well. And people were wonderfully supportive. And then we moved from Allens Avenue, we moved to Eltham Street in Dulwich Hill, which was literally, maybe a 10-minute walk away. And then eventually we moved back when the Buddhist library moved to Camperdown. We moved through the kindness of Paget Sayers, we moved into the old Buddhist library building in Lewisham. And it took us a very long time to raise enough money to purchase the retreat centre property, which we eventually did. And I remember I think I was in Plum Village at the time. And our treasurer at the time, who was Vincent Lowe, he sent me a message saying that this property had come onto the market. And so when I came back, a group of us got together, we went down and had a look and decided to make a, what do you call it? Not make a bid, but, put in an offer. And of course, the property was owned then by the Chinese Buddhist Association. And we met Sifu, who was a very lovely man. And to cut a long story short, we finished up buying the property. And it's taken us a very long time to get things ship-shape so that the council can't come down and tell us we have to close down. So David Wilson, who's an architect, Ian Jones, his friend, who's also an architect, David Denton, have put a lot of work into getting the place into the shape that it's in now. But none of it would have happened without the early work by Lily Koo. So the kudis that are there now, I remember very, very clearly, Lily said to me one day, "We need these kudis." And I said, "Yes, I agree." She said, "Well, we can talk." She was on the committee. She said, "We can talk endlessly at the committee." She said, "I'm sick of talking. I'm going to raise the funds for the kudis." So in 2 or 3 months, she had enough money to buy 3 kudis, and up they went. And then after that, another 2 went up. And sadly, those 2, the latest 2, got burnt in the big fires in 2019. The sad thing, from my point of view, the sad thing is that the week before Lily had her stroke, she was down at Vejjasala working like mad, as she always did. She was the kind of person who could never stop. So she was working like a little hurricane. And David Wilson and David Denton were also there. And I was down there. And she just, we kept saying to her, "Oh, Lily, have a little break." Yeah, I will. And she'd keep going, doing things she did. And then a week later, it was Serge Bodlander's anniversary, and we were to have a puja, a special puja at Sangha Lodge. And Lily had organised that, and then she didn't come to the puja. And I thought, this is very strange. And I still remember it was raining very, very heavily that night. And I kept telephoning her, both her landline and her mobile. No answer, no answer, no answer. And I kept ringing through the night. The next morning I rang again, still no answer. So I rang a really old friend of hers, Rose Lukey, and asked Rose, has she heard anything? And she said, no, that was a bit strange. And then I kept ringing during the day. That was the Thursday. Still no answer. So I rang Rose back and she said, oh, Chuck has a key to Lily's place. So Chuck and Meng So, Chuck Lee and Meng So, went around and found Lily on the floor. She'd had a stroke. She was in her pajamas. She insisted she was talking, but she'd been there. The doctors think she was there for at least a couple of days. And she was insisting to Chuck and to Meng that she was fine. She just had a muscle spasm. But of course, she wasn't fine at all. She'd had a really severe stroke. So she then spent many months then, for various reasons, she was placed into a nursing home, then into a second nursing home, and then moved back home for a short period of time, and then moved into the home of a Malay couple who were supposedly looking after her. And it was from there that she finally died. And today is the anniversary of her death. So we had a little puja for her today. And by a strange coincidence, her older sister, Apek, who Lily travelled many times to Malaysia to take care of, Apek herself died a couple of weeks ago. So that's a little bit, that's very compressed, but a little bit of the story of Lily. She was extraordinarily generous, not just financially, but although she was incredibly generous financially, the big freezer and the big fridge down at Vejjasala, she bought. She said to me one day, we have to go and look at a fridge and a freezer because she said it's inadequate what's down there. So off we went, and she found these two. We went to see a friend at Bingley at Alexandria, Roland, and she said, yeah, we'll take those two. And I said, oh, don't you want to, talk to the estate? No, she said, we're just going to get them. And so she paid for those. A lot of people don't even know that. And in they went. And she paid for many, many other things as well. So Lily was a person who had great devotion to the Dhamma and to the Buddha, and particular devotion to the Bodhisattva Kuan Yin. So she's greatly missed by all of us, those who knew her, but also, she lives on in people's hearts because of the person that she was. So I want to mention that tonight. I think it's starting to rain here. Anyway, so, okay, so you can take the photo down now if you like, Meredith, and go back to the ugly one. So the last time I talked to you, we talked a little bit about death, and I'd like to talk to you, since it's Lily's anniversary, I think it's appropriate to continue that talk a little bit, but to make it a little bit looser. So I'm not going to bother reading from suttas and things, but just make a few suggestions to you. First of all, I think it's important to remember that the Buddha stresses the need to develop no fear. You see those wonderful sculptures of the Buddha with his palms raised like this, Abhaya Mudra, no fear. And the wonderful story of his descent back to the earth after visiting his mother in the Tushita heaven, and he's coming down a staircase. It's a very popular image particularly in Theravadan art in Southeast Asia. And the Buddha has his hands raised in this gesture of no fear. Now, a lot of human beings, that's us, we like the idea of no fear, but we're actually not very good at it because we're afraid not just of death, but of a lot of other things as well. So we need to, I think, preface this teaching with, or to use the Buddha's teaching on no fear as, if you like, the matrix or the frame for the rest of this teaching. And remember that that's what it's about. Most of us, I think, most human beings, turn to religion. If you really scratch the surface, they turn to religion because of a fear of death, because none of us wants to die. Interestingly, none of us actually wanted to be born either. Nobody came along and said, oh, would you like to be born here or there or somewhere else? Or if they did, no one asked me. I just arrived, like Doctor Who. But most people, in fact, I'd say almost all people, are afraid of death, and many people are terrified of death. The Buddha, though, does not offer a promise of some kind of endless life. People like to think that he did, but he didn't. Nor did he say that we continue on and on and on after death. in fact, his teaching in this area is a little bit mysterious. It's full of paradox. Some of you might remember in the suttas, there's an occasion when a group of monks come to the Buddha and they say, oh, Lord Buddha, so-and-so is teaching that you said that consciousness survives death. That's what continues after death. And the Buddha said, well, who said this? And they told him. He said, go and tell him to come here. So this monk came to the Buddha and the Buddha said, have you been teaching that it's consciousness that survives death? That consciousness moves from one life to another, to put it simply, from one body to another and so on. And this monk said, yes, yes, of course, because that's what happens. And the Buddha said, well, tell me this, when did you ever hear me say that? And the monk said, oh, well, no, I didn't hear you say it. But, you know, that's obviously what happens. And the Buddha very simply said to this monk, please don't tell people or teach people things saying that I said them when I never said anything of the kind. He said, it's not consciousness that passes from one life to another. Now there is a real punch in the guts, because we'd like to think, oh, yes, this consciousness, it'll go on. Yeah, it'll go. There's a song, isn't there? There's a is it the song from Titanic? You know, I will go on or something, or from, I don't know, I heard it on the radio. Yeah, I will go on. Yeah, well, the Buddha doesn't say that. You know? A lot of religions promise that, and distorted forms of Buddhism promise that, but the Buddha doesn't promise that, as much as we might like him to have promised it. You know, it reminds me of a friend who's since passed away, who was a Buddhist teacher, who said to me once, oh, I'm going to give a retreat at Wat Buddha-Dhamma, and I'm going to teach people the 12 steps, you know, from Alcoholics Anonymous. And do you think that's a good idea? And I said, well, I think it's a good thing, but you must be clear to tell people this is not the teaching of the Buddha. This is something else. And this person said, oh, but look, the Buddha would have taught that. Well, this is putting words into the mouth of the Buddha, which is not right. Nobody likes to have other people tell people, oh, so-and-so said this when we didn't. So this question of the fear of death, I think it warrants a closer look at it. And we need to ask ourselves, why are we afraid of death? Why are we afraid of death? Well, for the Buddha, I think he makes it fairly clear. It's because of our really strong and powerful attachment to a sense of self. So, you know, if I'm going to die, and that means, that means the loss or the destruction of self, then yes, I don't want that, because I want to continue and continue and continue. Yeah? And when other people die around me, I always remain and think, oh, so-and-so has died and so-and-so has died. But I keep pushing away the idea that, you know, I will die. Yeah? And some people don't like the teaching of the Buddha on death. You know, when the Buddha says, these are the things that you should reflect on every day, you know, I am of the nature to die. You know, I haven't gone beyond death. And when people read that, they kind of just slip it underneath a whole bunch of other papers and they, I'll come back to that later. You know. But the Buddha's very clear. Yeah, I haven't gone beyond the nature of death or to the nature to die. You know. So we fear the loss or the destruction of the self. You know. Of course, you know, we can attach that self to the idea that, oh, I'm going to be reborn. So I don't really need to worry, you know, as long as I'm not coming back as a worm or something like that, I'll be reborn. You know? But the Buddha doesn't actually promise that either. He doesn't make a definitive statement about that. And the best Buddhist scholar to read on this is a man called Joseph Kalapahana, who came to Australia several times, a long time ago now, and was teaching and has written quite a number of books on Buddhism, and was teaching in Hawaii, and was a brilliant Buddhist scholar. And he liked to point out what the Buddha actually said, not what Buddhists say, but what did the Buddha actually say? The interesting thing about Joseph Kalapahana was that he and his wife had a son who had dived into the surf, or into a rock pool, I think it was, in Hawaii when he was quite young, and had become a quadriplegic. And these two spent their whole life then after that looking after the son. And they demonstrated such amazing loving kindness and generosity toward their son. So Kalapahana says, don't get caught up in this idea that I can escape death by becoming a Buddhist. So this leaves us in a difficult position. So if we're frightened of this loss or destruction of self, then what is it inside this that creates fear or makes fear arise in us? Well, I think one of the things is a sense of lack of control, that we know that we can't stop it. We know that we can't stop it. I've had, in the last month, I've had 3 deaths, and I've been closely associated with all of them. And one of them, a very wonderful man, Max, he said to me, "Oh, Bhante, I want to go." He'd been very, very ill for a long time. He was in a lot of pain, even though he was receiving palliative care from the nurses, who were very wonderful. He said, "I want to go." And we were talking one day, and he said it again. And I said, "Yes, Max, you want to go, but you won't let go." He wasn't at the stage where he could let go. He was still hanging on. I'm not saying that as a criticism, because that's what we all do. We hang on, because again of that fear, and also the fear of losing control. That if I don't sort of hang on, if I don't cling to this, what's going to happen? So in the face of death, what could happen? The great Renaissance philosopher Montaigne had wonderful things to say about death. He said, "I don't know why you worry about death, because death knows exactly what it needs to do." So he said, so when death comes, you just let death deal with things. You don't need to do anything. Death will take care of everything. On another occasion, he said, "I hope when death comes, it finds me planting cabbages." Not being clever or anything else, but doing something very simple, something productive, and then when it comes, it can come. He was very, very big on this idea that we shouldn't be like the Buddha, that we should not be afraid of death, but rather we should readjust our vision, our way of looking at things, our way of seeing things. Of course, the other thing that happens with death is that we lose all of our earthly goods. So all the things that we treasured, that we've worked for, they're gone. Well, of course, they're not gone. We're gone. And, we have a saying, don't we, in English, you can't take it with you. Or shrouds don't have pockets, which is so true. So there's the question of everything that you've worked for. But, if you think about it, we had those terrible fires in 2019 in which people lost everything. Some people lost their lives, but a lot of people lost their homes with everything in them. Not just the structure, excuse me, not just the structure of the home, but all of the contents. Years and years and years of memories were gone, which many people would tell you hurt much more than losing the building itself. And then just recently, we had those terrible floods up north, in which people lost their homes and literally had nothing. And many of them had no insurance either. So losing, when we think about death and we think in terms of loss of ordinary goods and so on, things that we've kind of saved up, and we shouldn't be concerned because it can happen anytime. the house can burn down, the house can be flooded, people can break in and steal things. I remember once many years ago when I was living in a flat, someone broke into the flat and I had a little Buddhist shrine made of sort of a coffee table and other things. And I had a vase of flowers on it, quite a large vase. And they broke in and they stole the television and they stole a few other things. The thing I was most annoyed about was that they emptied the vase of flowers onto my bed. They were obviously looking to see, had I put anything valuable inside the vase. The rest of it didn't matter. The rest of it could be replaced. So material goods, yes, we worry about it, about losing them, but it's pointless, as the Buddha keeps pointing out, because the goods themselves are also anicca, they're impermanent. So what is it then that the Buddha promises or talks about? He talks about nibbana, nibbana, or liberation, or citta vimutti, complete freedom of heart and mind. And he doesn't talk about it as, if you like, as a kind of way to deal with death. He talks about it as something which takes place while we are living. And the practice takes place while we're living. Bhante Tejadhammo wrote recently a very interesting article in which he pointed out how later Buddhism, and by later Buddhism, I mean Theravada, away from the very earliest strands of Buddhism, and then others, adopted this false idea that it was the last couple of moments when you were dying, it's the last couple of thoughts that determine, your rebirth. And he points out that the Buddha never said any such thing, and points out very well how foolish the idea is, because it doesn't square with the Buddha's teaching on karma, because karma is something that we develop over a whole lifetime. You can't get to the last minute and suddenly say, oh, okay, now I'm going to do X, Y, or Z. No, because you've conditioned your path all the way through. So this idea of a deathbed conversion, in the Buddhist tradition is just nonsense. That suddenly I get to the end point and I think, oh yes, okay, now I let go of everything and I'm going to be reborn as a bodhisattva or something. So these things, I think, are really worth thinking about, and thinking about the role of nibbana. We tend, I think, far too much to push nibbana off into the future, and not to listen to what the Buddha says about it, and says about it taking place or growing or developing now, in this life. Now, sure, we can sort of say, oh yeah, but I'm pretty hopeless, and I'd be the first to say I'm pretty hopeless, and I can't imagine that I'll be enlightened, whatever that might mean, in this life. But also, I'm not putting it off, waiting for the next one. So it's worth thinking about this and taking it seriously. So for the Buddha, nibbana is here and now and in the future. Molly and KK were kind enough in 1997 to invite me to go and stay with them in China. And they were living and working in Shanghai and Beijing. And I went and stayed with them in their apartment where they were staying. And, and they took me to all sorts of places, wonderful, wonderful Buddhist places. We went to Putoshan, Kuan Yin's island, and various other places. And then they arranged for me to go to Wutaishan, the place which is a sacred pilgrimage site near Taiyuan, dedicated to the Bodhisattva of Wisdom, Manjusri. And it was a hair-raising trip because KK got one of his staff members to take me to the train at night in Beijing and put me on the train. And when we got on the train, there were no lights on. So the guard, or whatever you call him, the conductor, he showed me where my seat was, which was also my bed because it was an overnight train. But this was all in pretty well in semi-darkness. And then when the train left the station, there was a horrendous scream when the lights went on from the people sitting opposite, who suddenly looked up and saw this Guelo sitting opposite them, dressed as a monk. And then for the rest of the night, people came and poked their head in the carriage and had a look. And the younger ones came to practice their English. Anyway, when I got to Taiyuan, and KK and Molly had kindly arranged for a driver to meet me and to drive me a very long way up into the mountains in Wutaishan. And there I met the most extraordinary monk. He was the abbot of the main temple in Taihuai, in the main town in Wutaishan. He's a very old man, and he didn't speak any English. And of course, I spoke no Chinese, but there was a novice monk who spoke English. And I spoke to the novice monk, and he told me about the master and asked me would I like to meet him. And I said, yes, I'd love to meet him. And so we went to a kind of a meeting hall, and we looked through the very, very dirty windows, very dusty windows. And there was the master sitting at one end of a table with a whole lot of government officials, all dressed in suits, like almost like sharkskin suits. And there was some sort of formal official meeting going on. And the novice said to me, do you want to meet him? And I said, yes, I'd love to meet him. And the novice just pushed a door and pushed me through the door. And so I found myself in this room with all these government officials and the old abbot. The old abbot immediately got up, left his seat and came over. I started to prostrate in front of him, and he immediately pulled me up and just stared and, looked at me, and then went back to his meeting and then told the novice to tell me to wait. And then afterwards we had a talk. And the amazing thing is that abbot's name in Chinese, and I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it, I wrote it down, means Nibbana here and there. Yeah, Nibbana here and over there. I remember I brought it back and showed it to Jim Teo, and he translated it for me. So this abbot was actually practicing Nibbana here and there, or over there, because in his monastery, and Molly and KK visited that monastery, I know, he had different monks from different traditions all living together and practicing together. So there were Tibetan monks there were Mahayana monks there were Pure Land monks, there were Chan monks, some Theravadan monks, all in one monastery under the guidance of this wonderful man. And when I asked him about his life experience, because he was very old, he told me that during the Cultural Revolution, he had been, when all the monasteries were closed and the monks and nuns were expelled, that he'd been sent to work on a farm. And I asked the novice, please ask the master what sort of farm he was sent to. And the answer came back, rock farm. So he was sent out with a road gang breaking up rocks to make roads. He was the most extraordinary man, but he had this sort of embodiment of the Buddha's idea of Nibbana, here and there. So a kind of Nibbana or presence of Nibbana that flowed on. That wasn't just, oh, it'll happen, when I die, or it won't happen at all. So I wanted to just put some of those things before you tonight and ask you to think about them. More importantly, to ask yourself, what do I fear about death? I know for myself, one of the things, I don't fear dying and losing the body. What I fear about death, if I had to sort of name something, is losing the loved ones. Losing the friends and loved ones. Not objects, or not even losing the body. The body is going to fall apart anyway, and you can't stop it. It does its own thing, as we all know, as we can see. But we don't really want to lose those that we love. Like those of you with children know exactly that. The last thing you want is to lose any of your children. It's one of the cruelest things that can happen to people in life. You don't want to lose your partner. You don't want to lose your friends. But each of us will have a different, if you like, a different underlying fear when it comes to the question of death. And I think it's very good practice for us to think about it and try to work out for ourselves, at this point in my life, what is it that I most fear about death? And then to remind ourselves of the Buddha's teaching, abhaya mudra, abhaya, no fear. It's a great Chinese master, and I always mix these two up. It was either Huangpo or Huineng. One or other of them said, in the absence of thought coverings, that is all the meditation that we do all the time, what is there to fear? And the answer is nothing. If we can stop thinking about all these things and grabbing hold of these things, these thoughts and feelings, these kind of imaginations within the heart and the mind, then there is nothing to fear. And Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, who passed away a short time ago, he was so big on this teaching. He has a little book, No Death, No Fear. And people look at it and think, oh, wait a minute, there is death. But if you read the book, you see what he's talking about. And he has that beautiful passage, which I've given to some of you before, on the death of his own mother and how devastated he was. And the devastation lasted for about 12 months until one night when he was in his kuti and he dreamt about his mother. And he dreamt that she was there, sitting there, as she had been, talking to him. And he woke up. It's a very beautiful passage. He said, I woke up and I went outside. This monastery was built on the side of a tea plantation. He said, I walked outside and there was a full moon. And we all know how important the full moon is. Well, anyway, I think it's terribly important, especially when it comes to the Bodhisattva Kuan Yin. And in terms of practice, it's a wonderful time to do meditation practice late into the night. Anyway, he said he stepped outside. The whole place was flooded with moonlight. And he felt his feet touching the soil of the tea plantation. And suddenly he realized, my mother is here with me. My mother's here within my own heart and mind. My mother is here in my body, which is literally true. You didn't make your body. It's not like a Lego construction set that you put together. No, it was given to you by your parents. So he said, my mother's here in my body. My mother's here in my heart and my mind, And then he goes further and says, my mother's here in the earth itself. And then he talks about Mother Earth, which is also terribly important because that helps us to cultivate true respect and reverence for the earth itself. Anyway, if you want to look for that, you can just Google Thich Nhat Hanh and the death of my mother, and you'll find the passage. It's very, very beautiful. So I'd encourage you to think about, not to be afraid of thinking about death, but rather to contemplate it. The Buddha and the Dalai Lama, for example, says you should contemplate death every day. Do a little bit of practice in which you imagine your own death. What will it be like? Most of us have a kind of romantic notion of what it might be like. I'll be lying in the bed and surrounded by people, uttering wise things. And probably I'll be writhing in pain and coughing and spluttering and doing all sorts of things. Nothing dignified about it, because there's nothing dignified about death. Death is death. But if we can let or accept that death will come, that death will do its own thing, and try to cultivate that abhaya, that lack of fear in the face of death, then it will make our living so much better. We can live with that quality that the Buddha talks about, citta vimutti, complete freedom of heart and mind. And I think that's something that we can aspire to. That's something we can try to attain or to come to. Anyway, that's enough of me waffling on. So what time is it? We should do a short meditation together. I thought we might do a little meta meditation together. And then we'll finish. We'll finish earlier tonight as well. So you can all go to bed and contemplate death. So if that's all right, we might do some meditation practice together. I'll do a little guided practice. Okay, let's just take a minute or two to settle and to rest after all that talking, that jabbering. So just let yourself for a few moments enjoy the silence after all that talk. In the words of Huang Po, I think, after all those thought coverings. Just letting yourself gently rest, excuse me, into the body and into the breath. You don't have to make an effort. Rather, you let yourself rest into your present experience of the body, experience of the breath. And you're not going to try to concentrate on something. Rather, you try to let your awareness be open and expansive and vast. So really settling into the body and settling into the breath. We start our practice now by calling to mind just one person, a living person at this point in the practice. A living person for whom we have strong feelings of love and affection. You just call that person to mind and try to imagine that you're sitting opposite that person, that they're sitting opposite you. You're facing each other. And if you're the kind of person who visualizes things, you can visualize them sitting there facing you. But if not, and much more importantly for the practice, is just to cultivate a sense of their presence. What I like to call the as if they're there right now, as if they are present. And work with that sense of them being present to you and you're being present to them. This person for whom you have strong feelings of love and affection. And allow yourself to give rise to those feelings within your own body, heart, and mind. To the feelings, the thoughts, the movements within the heart and the mind that begin to be stirred up when you think of this person, when you place yourself in the presence of this person. Let yourself think of the good things that you want for this person, that you wish for them. And allow whatever those feelings are to arise within your body, heart, and mind, and to flow out toward this person. And if it helps you, you can use words in this practice. as you generate or open the heart and the mind to generate these feelings, these thoughts, these wishes, these aspirations, you can use words addressed to this person. May you be well. May you truly be happy. May you be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all that is good and wholesome, skillful and beneficial flow toward you in these very moments. And in these same moments, may all that is harmful, unwholesome and unskillful flow away from you. May you be well. May you be happy. May you have a long, a happy and a healthy life. May you know real peace of heart and mind. May the sun of wisdom and the moon of compassion arise and illuminate your body, your heart, your mind. May you be well. May you be happy. Just try to sit gently with an awareness of the presence of this person and these best things within yourself that you offer to this person. These thoughts, words, aspirations, feelings that flow out and flow to this person. May you be free from suffering and all the causes of suffering. May you know happiness and the real causes of happiness. May you have great joy and happiness. And may you be the source of great happiness and great joy for all other suffering sentient beings. May you be well. May you be happy. May you come quickly to the complete liberation of heart and mind, which is Nibbana. May you be well. May you be happy. And just resting for a few moments with the awareness of the presence of this person and allowing these wonderful things which reside within your own body, heart, and mind. Allow these things to flow out to this person. Be aware of them receiving these things, absorbing them into themselves and benefiting from them. And now, very gently and very simply, pardon me, let this person be joined by a small group of other people for whom you have similar feelings. This might be family, might be friends. Just imagine a little group now, the first person plus these others now before you. And once again, allow these thoughts and feelings and wishes and aspirations to arise within your own body, heart, and mind, and to flow out to this group. May you be well. May you be happy. May you have happiness and the real causes of happiness. May you be free from suffering and all of the causes of suffering. May all that is good, wholesome, skillful, and beneficial flow toward you. And in these very same moments, may all that is harmful, unwholesome, and unskillful flow away from you. May you be well. May you be happy. May you have a long, a happy, and a healthy life. May the sun of wisdom and the moon of compassion arise and illuminate your body, your heart, your mind. May you know real peace of heart and mind. May you be well. May you be happy. May you have great happiness and joy. And may you be a source of great happiness and great joy for all other suffering sentient beings. May you be well. May you be happy. May you know real peace of heart and mind. And may each of you come quickly to the complete freedom of heart and mind, which is Nibbana. And just let yourself rest with the awareness of this little group of people. And the awareness of these thoughts and feelings and wishes and aspirations being stirred up within your own heart, your own body, your own mind, and flowing out to these people. So very gently, just let the awareness of the first person and that little group of people, just let that fade. Let that dissolve. Bring your awareness just back to that simple awareness of your own body, your own breath, for a few moments. And now very simply and very gently, call to mind somebody, pardon me, somebody that you don't really know very well at all. Somebody that maybe lives in the same street as you. You may not even know their name. Somebody you see going to work, somebody you see on the bus. You know, someone for whom you don't have any strong feelings one way or the other. Just call to mind this person. And as you begin your practice with this person, remind yourself that this person is a human being like yourself. That this person also wishes to be free from suffering. This person also desires peace of heart and mind. This person wants to live a long, a happy, and a healthy life. And allow yourself now to give freely from within your own body, heart, and mind these same thoughts and feelings and wishes and aspirations, to let them flow out to this person. And just imagine they are being surrounded by these and receiving them and absorbing them and benefiting from them. May you be free from suffering and all of its causes. May you know real happiness and the real causes of happiness. In these very moments, may all that is good, wholesome, skillful, and beneficial flow toward you. And in these very same moments as I practice, may all that is harmful, unwholesome, and unskillful flow away from you. May you be well, may you be happy. May you know happiness and its causes. May you be free from suffering and its causes. May you have a long, a happy, and a healthy life. May the sun of wisdom and the moon of compassion arise and illuminate your body, heart, and mind. May you know real peace of heart and mind. May you be well. May you be happy. May you have great joy and great happiness. And may you be a source of great happiness and great joy for all other suffering sentient beings. May you be well. May you be happy. And may you too come quickly to the complete liberation of heart and mind, which is Nibbana. May you be well. May you be happy. May you know real peace of heart and mind. And once again, just let yourself rest with the awareness of the presence of this person, with the awareness of these wonderful qualities flowing out of your own body, heart, and mind toward them. The awareness of them receiving these things which you offer, absorbing them and benefiting from them. And as you practice in this way, recognize that you are generating wholesome karma, that your intention and your actions are something wholesome and skillful and beneficial in these very moments. Now, gently and simply allow that awareness of that person that you don't really know very well, just allow the awareness of their presence to fade, to dissolve. And once again, return gently to your body, to your breath. Not concentrating, not focusing hard, just a gentle, simple awareness. And now call to mind someone who for you is a person, we could say, is a very difficult person. Maybe somebody who has wronged you or harmed you in the past, or even continues to do so now. Someone you find very difficult to deal with, or have found in the past very difficult to deal with. If you feel very strongly about this, you might even say that you feel like this person is an antagonist or an enemy for you, but it doesn't have to be that strong. And as you did previously, remind yourself that this person is a human being like you. That this person, like yourself, is subject to greed, to hatred and delusion. That this person also, despite the delusion, despite the greed and the hatred, that this person wants for themselves to be happy, to be free from suffering, to have a peaceful heart and mind. And just try to let your heart open that little bit more. Let your mind become a little bit more spacious with this person. And begin once again to send these things, these wonderful gifts which live within your own body, heart and mind, out to this person. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May you know real happiness and the causes of happiness. May all that is good, wholesome and skillful and beneficial flow toward you right now. And may all that is harmful, unwholesome and unskillful flow away from you now. May you be well. May you be happy. May you too have a long, a happy and a healthy life. May the sun of wisdom and the moon of compassion arise and illuminate your body, your heart, your mind. May you be well. May you be happy. May you know real peace of heart and mind. May you have great joy and happiness. And may you too be a source of great happiness and great joy for all other suffering sentient beings. May you be well. May you be happy. May you come quickly to the complete freedom of heart and mind, which is Nibbana. May you be well. May you be happy. And once again, just resting with that awareness, the awareness of the presence of this difficult person, the awareness of how much you actually share with them as a human being, the awareness of what you can give to them to try to heal them, to try to make them more whole, to try to lessen their suffering and their ignorance. May you be well. May you be happy. And once again, letting the awareness of their presence fade and dissolve. And let yourself come back once again to rest with that simple, bare awareness of your own body, your own breath. And now very gently and very simply, call to mind the presence of somebody that you really loved who has passed away, who has died. And just holding their presence in front of you. This might be a parent, might be a child, might be a great friend, it might be a partner. It doesn't matter who it is. Just call that person to mind. If you need to, you could have a couple of people. It's up to you. And without falling into grieving, holding the awareness of their presence which is actually within your own heart and mind. Offer to them these same thoughts and feelings and wishes and aspirations. In these very moments, may you be well, may you be happy. In these very moments, may you be free from all suffering and its causes. In these very moments, may your own heart and mind be filled with happiness and the real causes of happiness. In these moments, may the sun of wisdom and the moon of compassion illuminate your heart and mind. May you know real peace of heart and mind. Now allow yourself from within your own heart and mind, allow that wonderful quality of gratitude to arise. What the Buddha called katanyu, gratitude. So not just loving kindness now, but gratitude to this person or persons. Out of the depths of my own heart, I thank you. I offer you my gratitude, my heartfelt gratitude for all of the good that you did for me, for the good that you showed to me, for the gift of yourself that you gave to me. I can never repay the debt of gratitude I owe to you, but I offer you this gift of gratitude along with metta, along with loving kindness. May you have great happiness and joy. And may you continue to be a source of great happiness and joy for all other suffering sentient beings. And may you too come swiftly to the complete freedom of heart and mind, which is Nibbana. Now, very gently and simply, allow the awareness of that person or persons to fade, to dissolve. And think now of the people who are part of this Zoom gathering, some of whom you know, some you don't know. Some earlier you could see on the screen, some you couldn't see, it doesn't matter. And allow these same wonderful things which exist within your own body, heart and mind, allow them to arise and to flow out to all the people who are participating in this little session together. May each of you be well and be happy. May each of you be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May each of you have long and happy and healthy lives. May all that is good and wholesome, skillful and beneficial flow toward you in these very moments as we practice. And in these same moments, may all that is harmful, unwholesome and unskillful flow away from you. May you be well. May you truly be happy. May the glorious sun of wisdom and the brilliant moon of compassion arise and illuminate your bodies, hearts, and minds. May you be well. May you be happy. May you know real peace of heart and mind. May you have happiness and its real causes. May you be free from all suffering and the causes of suffering. May you be well. May you be happy. May you know real joy and happiness. And may you be a source of great happiness and great joy for all suffering sentient beings. May you too come quickly, come swiftly to the complete liberation of heart and mind, which is Nibbana. May you be well. May you be happy. And now very swiftly recognize that as you are offering these things to everyone else in this little group, that these things are being offered to you at the same time. And open your body, heart, and mind to receive them and to also offer them to yourself. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I know happiness and the real causes of happiness. In these very moments as I practice, may all that is good and wholesome, skillful and beneficial flow toward me. And in these very moments, all that is harmful, unwholesome and unskillful flow away from me. May I be well. May I be happy. May I have a long, a happy and a healthy life and be a blessing to those that I meet. May I know real peace of heart and mind. May I have great happiness and great joy. And may I truly be a source of great happiness and joy for all other suffering sentient beings. May I too come quickly to the complete freedom of heart and mind, which is Nibbana. May I, those people who are practicing with me this evening, and all beings be well and happy. May we be free from suffering. May we have happiness and the real causes of happiness. May our bodies, hearts, and minds be illuminated by the great sun of wisdom and the moon of compassion. May we know real peace of heart and mind. May I and all beings be well and happy. May we be well. May we be happy. May we come quickly to the complete freedom of heart and mind, which is Nibbana. Yatha varivahapura paripureti sagarang ewang mewang itodinang petanang upakapati chitang patitang tunghang kipa mewa samijatu sabe purintu sankapa chandopanara soyata mani jatira soyata Sapitio haviva chanto saparoko Vina satuma deva wandarayo sukiti kayuko awa apiwa dhanasili sanichang utang pachayinoja taro dhamma vatanti ayuhano sukhang Palang bhavatu sabha mangalang rakantu sabha devata sabha bhutanupavena sada soti bhavantu te bhavatu sabha mangalang rakantu sabha devata sabha dhammanupavena sada soti bhavantu te bhavatu sabha mangalang rakantu sabha devata sabha sankano Bhavena sada soti bhavantu te. So that concludes our practice. I hope you all sleep well tonight, filled with gratitude, filled with loving kindness, and keep moving quickly toward Nibbana. So I'll hand you back over to Sarah, I think, and yes, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhante.
Okay,
That was a beautiful meditation to end on, and given me and I'm sure many others a lot to reflect on tonight and for many days to come. That's for sure. Thanks. Thank you so much, Bhante.
No, you're most welcome. Thank you for putting up.
I really appreciate it.